Welcome to another episode of Across the Bar. Here we are in downtown Philadelphia at Rittenhouse Square. This is kind of the epicenter of downtown Philadelphia. We're going to get a chance to kind of explore the whole area. We're right across the street from a great bar called a.bar. We're going to get a chance to explore their cocktails, some of their small plates, and kind of figure out how they're using the localized theme to match up craft cocktails right here in Philadelphia. All right, so here we are at a.bar with Dan Hamm. Hey.
How's it going?
All right, so you of course have donned us with a lovely cocktail here. Can't wait to learn about this one. What do we have?
So that is on our summer cocktail menu. It's called the Maiden Voyage.
Okay.
It's what we call a spirit-forward cocktail, which means that the main components are different spirits, liqueurs, and vermouths. Our first ingredient in here is called the lemon coriander shrub. A shrub basically being any syrup, but instead of water being the base, it's vinegar instead. So it gives it a really nice brightness to the beverage.
Right.
There's also a little bit of chinar in there, which is an Italian bitter amaro flavored with artichokes, surprisingly. There's also a little bit of Bekarovka. Bekarovka being a Czech bitters. It has a lot of kind of that cinnamon baking spice note that you're getting in there as well. There's also a little bit of Cardamaro, which is a wine-based amaro from Italy as well. It's almost like a Manhattan variation.
Right.
Instead of classic bourbon or rye whiskey as the base, it's actually a really nice rum from Georgia here in the United States. And we add a little bit of grated cinnamon on top to accentuate the kind of baking spice cinnamon note in the Bekarovka.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right, before we jump into our drink 2 and 3, let's learn a bit about you and a.bar.
My first bar job was at a craft cocktail bar, which is atypical. You usually have to kind of bar back for a while, and then you have to, do this and that.
Right.
I was lucky enough where I ended up being a regular at a cocktail bar across the street, and I would just go in and talk to the bartenders, and I was really, really interested in the craft. I love the fact that as a cocktail bartender you can have the creativity of a chef, but you can still talk with guests and kind of have that front of house vibe as well. My cousin, who I lived with at the time, worked at a great bar in Philadelphia called the Randstad Room, and just from me going in so often and basically begging and pleading for a job, a bar that was opening in a couple months, they allowed me to jump behind the stick.
Wow, that's great, because you're right. The chef doesn't necessarily get that immediate reaction to something that they've crafted, where a great bartender can really kind of take a lot of input from the guests themselves, feedback on what's not right or what's perfect, so that's kind of cool. All right, so we're going to break down a couple of drinks, but what's next up on the menu?
So next I'm going to make for you our Angostura float, which is our take on a ice cream float cocktail.
All right, Dan. Now I feel like I'm like in an old drugstore.
Yeah, that's about
perfect float.
Basically, the bottom portion of that beverage is a dessert-style drink. It's vermouth and rum forward, with a little bit of saline, a little bit of demerara, and a little bit of red wine.
You can definitely pick that up. Now, the float itself, what type of ice cream? How's this all coming together?
So the ice cream is house-made. It's a house-made Angostura ice cream. And we just add a little bit of Angostura bitters. It has a lot of nice cinnamon notes, and the flavor of Angostura itself is strong enough where all you need to add is a little bit.
What are you finding when guests get this drink? What do they like about it?
Well, whenever a regular comes in and they order this drink, I ask them if they would have liked a spoon for the ice cream at the end. And the consensus is it depends on how fast you drink it. So it's one of those choose your own drinking experience type beverages.
Very interactive.
It's really fun. So our final cocktail is going to be one grin.
One grin.
One grin.
That sounds like a great one to end on. Let's do it.
Absolutely.
So great color on this one for sure.
It's a variation of an old classic cocktail that we put in for a cocktail competition a couple months ago and actually got first place. So the idea behind this is it's actually a Negroni variation. We wanted to take our favorite flavors of the Negroni, kind of break them apart, and then put them back together in a really fun way.
What are you seeing here in Philly with kind of the bar scene itself?
The cocktail trend is definitely growing. Maybe 6 or 7 years ago, we had a bunch of speakeasies open up, which kind of helped revive the cocktail scene in Philadelphia. They're not all around anymore, but what they did is they helped reintroduce Philadelphia to a perfectly made cocktail.
It seems to be more and more of a trend, especially as we start to see kind of culinary systems put together as good a bar scene as they have, you know, on the back of house as a chef scene, which is kind of cool. They don't leave a restaurant to go to another place to have a great drink or an after dinner drink.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So we're gonna try to break down this drink right here. I think this is the one we're gonna try.
Yeah.
We're gonna have you walk me through it though.
No problem.
All right, let's get to it. All right, so Dan, let's break the first one down again. What am I looking at here?
So that is a vanilla tincture.
Okay.
Tincture is just a fancy word for basically any flavor extracted in alcohol.
Now the best, you said this was the super bitter.
Yes.
All right, so that was really what gave that kind of the Negroni profile.
Yeah, it just needs a little tiny bit.
Our first Campari.
We're not only going to use classic Italian vermouth, but we're also going to use a little bit of Cappelletti.
Now this is where you really have to be super good.
Practice makes perfect.
So how do you get your trick to, because your hand was like just like flying through there.
I'm going to show you the first thing.
Okay.
We're going to upgrade you to this fancy spoon.
Ah, you just gave me less profile.
Yeah, I wanted to see which one you were going to pick.
This
see,
is
a little bit better.
This is
a little bit better.
So you guys have got this down to a T.
Oh yeah.
All right, and we do a comparison right there. All right, Dan, so you got to try this one.
All right, here we go. I would say that's just about spot on.
No way.
Yeah, it's really, really great.
This has been fun. I like trying something that's a little bit more complex like this. Definitely breaking down kind of a unique drink, something signature, what you guys are doing. So thanks for having us.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.